Welcome back to In the Zone. I'm your host, Aaron Chun. With the MLB playoffs in full swing, exciting college football matchups, and the start of the NHL season, we have a lot to talk about. In the Zone starts now. Joining me on desk this week are Ashton and Gehrig Milbrandt. Playoff baseball is well underway, and our Phillies and Yankees fans here in the Zone are not having a great time. Boy, are we not. Off the backs of two strong starts from Shohei Ohtani and Blake Snell, plus the big bats of Philadelphia going quiet, the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead back to LA in the NLDS. And the New York Yankees were blown out of the water in both games north of the border, losing by a combined score of 23-8. Both of these squads are going to need a miracle to advance to the league championship series. Gehrig, which team do you think has the best chance to come back?
Yeah, it pains me to say this, but I personally think the Phillies, out of the two, have the best chance of coming back. Well, yeah, Harper, Schwarber, and Turner have two hits between them in the two games. I think if they can just get to the Dodgers bullpen, like they proved they could. In Game 2, they did get to the bullpen. They got to Treinen, but Sasaki came in and closed the door. The opportunity was there. Where the opportunity hasn't been is anywhere in Toronto. The Yankees were outplayed at every single level of the game. Hitting, pitching, defensively. Everything there's numbers for, the Yankees were worse at. Yeah. So I really don't think they might win. The Rodon start tonight in New York, maybe Schlittler tomorrow, but I do not see them winning 3, especially needing to go into Toronto and win another one. And the Phillies, again, that Dodgers bullpen, everything else about the Dodgers, pretty good. They did win the World Series last year. They still have a very good team returning, but that bullpen is definitely a weak spot, and the Phillies can get their big bats going and exploit that. I think they could come back.
Yeah, we saw, and even in Game 2, you look at what they did against against Blake Treinen. They scored the 2 runs. They put Roki Sasaki in a tough spot, and it was a pretty good defensive play that saved the Dodgers. Otherwise, we're talking about a tie game, maybe even winning that game.
Now, I did see something. Roki Sasaki is immune to the Philly fans because he doesn't speak English. I saw he did a good report. Yeah, they're talking trash on him. It has no effect because he has no idea what they're saying.
Right, he's just standing there, and it doesn't really hit him. So, usually we try to hit him where it hurts, and it's just not working.
He's immune to it.
But Ashton, what are your thoughts?
It pains me to say, as a Phillies fan, I'm pretty upset. Obviously because of my family, because my mom, like the Phillies, she's upset too. So I do see the Phillies doing a comeback. I don't know. I'm a diehard Philly fan, so I want them to come back. Do I think they're going to do it? Probably not. But on the other hand, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Yankees, I'm very excited that the Blue Jays crushed the Yankees. I'm not a Yankee fan.
Breaking my heart.
It's just...
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I agree with both of you. I really don't know what chance the Yankees stand. I saw it was a story, I think, by Ken Rosenthal or one of the reporters that made the argument. In 2 at-bats, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. already has more signature playoff moments than Aaron Judge does in 9 years in the league, and the unfortunate thing is, I think he's right.
I think he's right.
I mean, you have the Game 1 home run in the first game of the series. You have the Game 2 grand slam. I mean, I really think that the ALCS, is going to come down to Mariners Blue Jays. As for Philadelphia, they have a really talented rotation, and that's always going to keep them going. Even if the bats get going, though, who's left in the bullpen? I don't know. Well, let's talk about the other teams. As for other matchups, things have looked great for the Brewers, who also possess a 2-0 stranglehold on the series against the Cubs. The Tigers managed to steal a road game against the Mariners, and they'll take it back to Detroit for their first home game in nearly 2 weeks. Their Game 1 victory was solid, but despite their best efforts in Game 2, they lost a game in which they had a huge advantage by having Tariq Skubal on the mound, who was excellent despite a pair of home runs hit by Mariners second baseman Jorge Polanco. Ashton, Have the Tigers done enough to potentially steal the series from the Mariners? And do the Cubs have any chance of making a significant comeback against Milwaukee?
First of all, I'm not either of those fans, but the Cubs are a good team. I know the Cubs and the Boys are a good team. It should be a good matchup. Right now, the Cubs are down right now.
Yeah.
They're going to be out pretty soon. But I want to see the Cubs moving on. But the Tigers and the Mariners, that is the biggest game, in my opinion, is going to go down. Like, I don't know. I like to see Seattle win it, but the Tigers, they have a good team. But losing with Tariq Skubal in that other game, it's not it. I think Detroit has, like, the momentum to get to the playoffs. Like, I feel like they're a good team with, obviously, my favorite player on their team is Javi Baez. But I don't know. I don't really know. I think Seattle's going to take the cake.
Right. I think, like you said, losing a game with Skubal on the mound, when you're looking at any series that involves the Tigers, you're looking at Tariq Skubal, you're circling that game as a must-win. Because if you can win another game with somebody else on the mound, which they did in Game 1, then you stand a pretty good chance to take at least another game then with Skubal on the mound. And losing that certainly is pretty difficult for the Tigers because they're probably not going to get him back until Game 5 at the earliest if they get there. Gehrig, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think if you were going to tell a Tigers fan they're going to be 1-1, take a game in Seattle, come back, they would just assume they won Game 2 and lost Game 1. But they're 1-1 regardless. And as like everyone says, it takes the away team to win a game for it to really be a series, and the away team did. The Tigers got that win in Seattle, and they're back in the Motor City today. So I really don't think they'd be that upset about stealing a game. You get 2 more games at home. Again, like you said, you might get Skubal back Game 5, and that's where he's going to be at his best. It's going to be really, really tough for the Mariners to beat him twice, so just get 1 win here and set up yourself for success in Seattle again. And the Cubs, they're a really likable team. I just don't think they have the lineup depth the rest of the NL teams. They're kind of like the one squeaky wheel on the shopping cart out of there because the Phillies, Dodgers, and Brewers have full, complete powerhouse lineups. The Cubs are very, very good, but I just don't think they're quite there yet. Maybe another season or two till the team really starts contending for the National League.
We've seen big swings from guys like Seiya Suzuki on the Cubs, but you look at Kyle Tucker. That's someone who you've seen him in the postseason for a while with Houston, and yet he doesn't have the best track record. And Pete Crow Armstrong, since the All-Star break, has just completely fallen off a cliff. I think with Seattle, though, I think they've got enough pitching. They got a good enough bullpen to hold off the Tigers. And I would like to introduce you guys to my World Series pick, Julio Rodriguez. Ooh. This is my World Series MVP pick. I think the Mariners are making it all the way. They've been my pick for quite a while. Preseason number 1 and 2, Texas and Penn State both find themselves unranked after a very entertaining week of college football. Texas was kept at arm's length all day in the swamp against Florida, and the Nittany Lions were shocked by a then winless UCLA squad. There's plenty to look forward to next week as number 24 South Florida takes on undefeated North Texas on a Friday night game that has major implications for the Group of 5 playoff spot. There's a big battle in the Big Ten as number 7 Indiana heads to Autzen Stadium to do battle with the number 3 Oregon Ducks and another chapter of the Red River rivalry as Texas looks to get their season back on track and take down the number 6 ranked Sooners. Gehrig, what game are you most excited for this week?
I am very, very excited for that Indiana-Oregon game, as it's going to be a real litmus test for both of these teams. So far this season, Indiana played Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, and Iowa, and their only ranked win was against number 17 Illinois, and they beat them so bad it became a non-quality win.
Right.
Same kind of story with Oregon, as they've blown out Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, and Oregon State, and like Indiana, their one quality win really, really got diminished with Penn State losing to UCLA on the road this week. I like Indiana. I really like to see them get that first signature win into Cignetti because they put a lot of good wins together, but they really haven't got that signature win yet. They lost to Notre Dame in the college football playoff. They lost to Ohio State last year. This is going to be their first opportunity to go into a top 5 team and get that win. And I won't harp on it too much, but I loved Penn State losing the past 2 weeks. Just the classic Drew Aller game-losing interception and that a candidate for upset of the year against UCLA.
Right.
Man, we are missing the playoffs in Penn State.
I was just about to talk to you about Penn State because I knew the last time you were here, you had some thoughts, and you ended up being right. I mean, Oregon managed to upset Penn State in the whiteout game.
I wouldn't say it's an upset.
Not upset. I mean, UCLA managed to upset them. Oregon managed to just kind of blow their brakes off in a huge home field advantage game for Penn State. It's been something that's been all too common of a theme. I think at this point, who knows if they're going to climb back into the rankings, if at all.
I do. They're not.
Ashton, what thoughts do you have about college football games this week and some of the ones that have happened over the last couple weeks?
I was at one of the games. I was at the Penn State and Oregon game. Ooh. I was at the whiteout game.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Penn State fan, and they lost. So, but I'm not really that surprised.
Yeah.
Of the way they've been playing. But I do think this might be an oddball, but I really want to see Texas make it all the way.
Okay.
I think Texas make it all the way. I know they're a terrible team, but I think they're going to come back up and win the entire college football series.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. All right, guys, break it up.
That's crazy. That's a hot take.
You know, I think this discussion we've been having about Penn State and this discussion we just had about the Phillies, being a fan of both of those teams is really just an endless series of Felford Again awards.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Penn State fan. Not really gotten into college football too much, but Philadelphia. Let's now send it over to Kymari Clarke for an update in Marauder Athletics. Kymari?
Thanks, Aaron. Thousands of Marauders fans and friends packed their stadiums this weekend for homecoming sporting events. Field hockey kicked off the weekend on Saturday morning with a win against Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Sophomore Peyton Bean received a pass from Lauren Campy to break a tie and take the win. Shepherd University defeated the Marauders 38-23 at this year's homecoming football game. Millersville led 17-14 in the second quarter, leading to high hopes for a potential win and a Shepherd lead 23-17 by halftime. A J.Q. Brown rushing touchdown in the last minute of the third quarter put Millersville within one score. Ultimately, Shepherd answered in the fourth quarter and retained Millersville's record of 0-5. Just this past week, Millersville Athletics announced the immediate release of head football coach J.C. Morgan. Brian Ferguson will serve as the interim head coach for the remainder of the 2025 season. On the road, we saw an unfortunate loss from women's volleyball in the third set at Kutztown University. Men's soccer took the win, earning their first PSAC victory over Shippensburg. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Kymari. Week 5 of NFL action is now wrapped up, and we saw a number of notable matchups. Perhaps two of the most interesting, however, involved both participants a Super Bowl 59. The Eagles, holding on to a 17-3 lead entering the fourth quarter, let up 18 unanswered points to the Broncos, leading to a stunning 21-17 loss. The Chiefs, meanwhile, continue to leave more questions than answers to their fans as they couldn't hold off the Jaguars in a rough 31-28 loss. Ashton, do you have any worries about two of the NFL's usual powerhouse teams, or do you think they'll figure it out by season's end?
Well, I'm an Eagles fan, not a Chiefs fan, but I am happy that the Chiefs did lose. I am not a Chiefs fan whatsoever. I don't like them.
Right.
I don't like them one bit. Like, I don't like Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce, because Travis got fined for doing unsportsmanlike stuff as well. But as an Eagles fan, watching them to the Broncos, it's upsetting. It's very upsetting. But it's only one loss, so I only think that the Eagles are going to obviously outbeat the Chiefs, making it back to the Super Bowl.
I think what's interesting with the Eagles game is that the first few that they played this year, they entered this game 4-0. It was kind of the same story where they started off slower and then heated up late. This was kind of the inverse, where they were off to a good start and then just kind of collapsed within themselves, which is something that I feel like could be worth watching. I know there's been a lot of infighting with guys like A.J. Brown kind of unhappy with their usage and stuff like that. Gehrig, what are your thoughts with these two teams?
Yeah, I really have no worries about Philadelphia. You're going to have that one game every season, and it's not a great look blowing that lead at home, but Denver was a playoff team last year. They do have a nice team.
Right.
I really not that worried about the game, but the Chiefs, I'm pretty scared to say this, but I don't believe in the Chiefs right now. They always come back and
Right,
prove me wrong
they
whenever
always
you say
do,
it.
but yeah.
my main reason for saying that is what this team has been built on for the past 3 seasons is winning those one-score games. And so far this season, they're 0-3 in one-score games.
Yeah.
Maybe the pendulum's swinging a little bit back to the other team's side a little bit. And another thing I want to highlight is at the end of the game, the effort differences between the two teams. Jalen Hurts, again, I got to give the devil his due here. On that Hail Mary bomb, he was sprinting down the field. He got down there in like 2 seconds flat, ready to get the the tip rather, and maybe get a touchdown there. But Chris Jones, I don't know if everyone's seen the play where Trevor Lawrence slips and runs into the end zone. Look at Chris Jones on that play. He's standing there completely still, just kind of staring at him. He has his hands in his pocket, just watching Trevor Lawrence run into the end zone. Just, he's got his bag. He's not playing hard, I guess. But yeah, that's just a terrible effort and probably lost. If he's running full speed, he lays Lawrence out and the game goes totally differently. Terrible effort from him.
No, I agree. And I think you're right. The Eagles typically, Eagles, Chiefs, whatever superpower team you're seeing, in any sport, you typically have a couple losses. In the football season, 1 or 2 that just don't feel very good that you can kind of wash off. I think the Eagles' next opponent is the Giants, so I believe this is our annual 50-3 victory against them. We'll see how things go for there. I think with Kansas City, though, you're right. Those one-score games are kind of going to kill them. I think one of the best examples of it I can think of in a different sport, the 2023 Padres were a team that just could not win the close games, and despite how talented that roster was in every other regard, they could not make it to the postseason. They just missed it. And I think, and that's about as close of an example as I can think of with these one-score games kind of beating the Chiefs down. Lace up your skates and tape up your sticks because the puck drops on the NHL season tonight. We have Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the back-to-back champion Florida Panthers, the Pittsburgh Penguins heading to Madison Square Garden to battle the New York Rangers, and to close out the night, 2 playoff teams from last season, the Colorado Avalanche and the LA Knights, will be squaring off in the City of Angels. Gehrig, do you think anyone will finally put a stop to the Florida Panthers' dreams at a three-peat this season?
Yeah, we saw a three-peat go down in the NFL last year. Chiefs couldn't quite get it done, but this Florida Panthers team they're a juggernaut. They're the model for success for a modern NHL organization, just how they run their organization, how they play, all the physicality of it. They have everything you want out of a good team. But at the start of the season, Florida's looking a little more vulnerable. They got Alexander Barkov sustaining a major ACL and MCL injury in practice, and Matthew Tkachuk will be out until about Christmas. Those are 2 of the biggest names on the team. Really, really big contributors to that championship team the past 2 seasons. They're going to be out for half the season and I think the entire season for Barkov. So if you're going to make a stand, if you're going to plant your flag, try to knock Florida off now is the time to do it. And I also want to touch on 2 big contracts that have been signed recently. Even hockey casuals know about Connor McDavid, and the hero of the Four Nations face-off last year, one of the faces of the league. He signed a 2-year, $25 million contract to stay in Edmonton. A lot of people were thinking he was going to walk, but I think he was going to stay at Edmonton. But what I think is interesting about this is it's only 2 years. For a major face of the franchise, you expect maybe an 8 to 10-year contract. He signed 2. And they've made it to the Stanley Cup the past 2 years, and they've fallen to Florida in each one of them. So I think this is like, hey, I'm going to stick around. I want to win in Edmonton. Prove it. We have a team right now that can get to the Stanley Cup. You got 2 more years with me. Do it. Build the team around me, and we're going to do it together. And also, Kirill Kaprizov, a name that casual fans may not know, but if you are, learn it. He's on the Minnesota Wild, and he signed a record-setting 8-year contract worth $17 million a year. That's not pocket change, but compared to the big 4 sports, that's kind of weird for a record-setting contract. And he was the face of the franchise in Minnesota, and he was an integral piece of their playoff series against Vegas last year. And if the Wild want to win their first playoff series since 2015, they're going to need him, and they're going to need to build the team around their young gun here. I really like the move there from Minnesota.
I like what you said about Edmonton, too. I mean, I recognize the name Connor McDavid, and I think, it's something that is a really powerful statement, not just for the fans of the organization, but also the team themselves, the players, the coaches, the executives, to have that vote of confidence from McDavid to say, hey, I want to stay here. I want to sign an extension. I want this team to be built around me so we can win. And I think, like what you said with Florida, this is the year to take him down. I mean, super teams like them always seem to find a way. They always seem to find 1 or 2 players to make up for the losses of their stars. But I think, like you said, this is their best. This is any team's best chance to finally try and knock them off. Ashton, what thoughts do you have about the NHL season?
I'm not really a big hockey fan, but I pick teams that are terrible. Like the Flyers and the Penguins.
Right.
And it's hard to be a Penguins and Flyers, to be a Flyers fan. But I'm a Penguins fan, but being both of a fan of them, it's not, they're not
easy.
good.
No.
They're not good. But I like Sidney Crosby, but he's old, but he's gonna be retiring. Like, we're gonna have some good teams in the NHL season. But I'm kind of excited to watch the hockey.
Right.
I think the Florida Panthers are gonna do it again. I think they're gonna go do it again.
I think so. I mean,
They are an unbeatable team. Like, you can't not beat them. They're too good.
yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like I said, those good teams always find a way to get the most out of players, even with stars now. And I share your sentiment. My sister's gotten into hockey over the last few years, and she's a big Flyers fan too. And I mean, God, I think that team's been in a perpetual rebuild for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, not as bad as Buffalo, but not great. At least you got Gritty. He's cool.
Yeah, we got Gritty. I mean,
Gritty.
they're building some good players over there. Travis Konechny, I know, has been solid for them. She'd be disappointed. What's Matvey Michkov, I think?
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, close enough. She's not going to watch this, so it's fine. They're building pieces, but who knows how long they're going to be stuck there. Now it's time to go out of bounds. As mentioned earlier, it's been a rough time for Phillies fans who, after a heartbreaking loss on a 7th-inning home run by Teoscar Hernandez, have resorted to drastic measures to try to see the team advance. Fans have brought spells from Etsy witches, attempted to bring upon the curse of Ra, the ancient Egyptian sun god, and even had a prayer circle going with candles lit around Jesus Luzardo baseball cards prior to his Game 2 start. While Luzardo's efforts were more than enough to keep Philadelphia competitive, the Bats yet again failed the starter. Gehrig, both of our teams are struggling deeply. What drastic PG measures would you consider taking to see the Yankees make a surprise 2-0 series comeback?
I like the specified PG there because
Yeah.
I got some outlandish ideas.
Right, me
But
too.
I got two. I'm kind of working with right now. So I think I'm going to go down to the Sugar Bowl and get a chicken parm sub, and maybe get like a pentagram going on my dorm room floor and try to get the spirit of Anthony Volpe going because they make a good chicken parm sub. If you haven't had one, it's my go-to order at the Sugar Bowl there.
Yeah, that's one of my
Great
common ones.
Or I can get like a Ouija board and try to conjure the spirit of George Steinbrenner. Because, again, we win the World Series in 2009. He dies in 2010. We haven't won since then. Coincidence? I don't know.
No,
If I can get the boss's spirit back, maybe go into the locker room, light up the guys like he used to. Or just throw money at it like he used to. We're not doing that. Hal is afraid to do what his dad used to do. If we can get the ghost of George Steinbrenner back and get those marinara.
Yeah, the marinara chicken parm vibes going.
That's what they need.
Ashton, what are you doing to try to keep the Philly season alive?
I don't know. I just keep yelling at them.
The old Philly dad classic of yelling at the TV. I think personally for me, I'd be willing to give up Diet Coke for the rest of the year. That one really hurts my soul, but if that's what it takes to get them into the World Series, to win their first ring since I was 4 years old and didn't care about baseball, back when my life was much more peaceful and better.
Yes.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice. It's gonna hurt a lot, but if it's got to be done, the Diet Coke's going away till 2026. That'll do for this episode of In the Zone. For Ashton Lagos, Gehrig Milbrandt, Kymari Clarke, and the entire In the Zone crew, I'm your host, Aaron Chun. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you right here next time on In the Zone.